not the shirt, it's him, his message. All right.
And it's another tree growing by the tree.
Yeah.
It's not this tree, is it? All right. Leaves are too big on the little one.
I don't mind, and it doesn't matter at all to me.
Yeah.
But just so you all know, that is currently live. So when you're talking,
So don't say.
well, I just don't want you to not know that you're sure.
Being
That's yeah.
Very
So
good.
so not just the people who are sitting here, but other people might be
Yes.
listening, and that's what we want, right? We
Yeah.
want them to
Yeah,
feel as though
exactly.
they're in the
In the
they're
mix.
in the mix, but at the same time, I don't want people to think, oh, only Angela can hear me. That's not true.
Don't say anything bad.
Yeah, like if you were like, well, I see so and so's not here today.
Yeah.
For example,
Right.
not our,
Hey,
not our
Hey, Angela, how are you? Don't complain about the minister.
I know.
Well, you're welcome to do that. I'd love, yeah, please do.
I don't know if I spread it or not. Hello.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I started thinking, I wonder if I actually sent that.
Well, looks like you guys got some good seats over here.
Yeah. We're both having trouble with our hips, so we don't have to walk so far.
No, I mean the shade.
Oh, the shade. Well, there's the one.
So in the fall, it worked out pretty well.
YouTube is live, just so
The
you
one
know.
thing that we didn't do last time, we
So
turned
it'll
the
hear
computer
you.
and we turned the computer
So
around to
how-
go live, and we shot up into that tree for about an hour.
Okay.
And
But we can.
Yeah, where's the microphone?
Right there.
Oh, okay.
So now
On that thing.
we've got a
That's
little
where
bit
the
of different
camera
setup
is.
here. Okay.
Hi, Linda. Hi. How is it at home?
So you guys got the front row. I know, I was just telling Julie that our lawn chairs are at the old house in the storeroom, which I was going to grab one yesterday.
You can get a blue chair.
Yeah, she did. Julie.
And I don't,
Oh,
I'm sure
okay.
it's the difference
And
between meal
after the service, there's another form I haven't showed you.
Okay,
better
okay.
than they were.
Sounds good.
For
And I-
money.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's.
No, and I'm gonna try to.
Yeah.
I was planning, I thought I could.
Okay. Well, maybe I should come, we can do payroll.
That'd be great if you're free.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the parking lot.
What's a good time?
Whatever time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, oh, okay, yeah.
We met
Well,
once
maybe
at
we did
11:30 and
that
then we met at 1.
Shot it right up in
Yeah,
the tree, so,
1:30 to 1.
It's better.
We're doing a little better, we now have a, oh, good.
And,
I thought this was unwatchable, I can't believe
I
it.
can't.
So
No, I know.
we said a little webcam.
Oh, no.
She can't be.
Well, especially since you're in the new place and she's friendly.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
people.
And I just didn't
Good
want to
morning.
set an
Good
expense that we
morning.
didn't know, but I tried it
And
yesterday.
here we are.
Here we are.
There's some shade here right
Go
now.
back into the
And
thing, this is not
and it's
hard
not too
to
hot.
set up
It's not
for,
too hot.
I think. that
Although the
that's-
sky is getting blue.
It is, thank goodness, but it is weird this morning.
And the mic is
Yeah.
on thing, which is
They
not-
say the air quality was bad. Yeah.
it- it-
I was trying to tell
standing
Jim
this
this.
far
He
away
said,
from
well, where's
there.
the fire? I said, I don't think it's from the fire.
No,
It's
I
from
think
the
it's just
smog.
Well,
It's whatever.
the air, you know, it hasn't been good.
Right.
On the news, they always say, well, you know, if you have asthma or something,
Yeah.
stay inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever their conversation is.
Hey, who sent out all the, somebody sent out all the nice cards, you know, with the thank you on the back. I figured it
I had that postcard made.
It's wonderful.
I
I
kind of had to squish it down some. It wasn't, but it's a square piece of stained glass. So, of course, it would have. But I thought it came out okay, even though it was squished. I like it.
And I still have it sitting on my front.
Well, I like postcards like that. I stick them in the side of the
I
bookcase
still
where I
have
can
one
see
you
them.
made for me years ago.
Oh,
Yeah, so people will skip it. That was smart.
What is there?
Because
There's
a hole.
a huge depression.
Oh, there is.
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a choice, of course. Yeah, yeah.
And it looks very.
So what have you?
That's right.
Smarter than a hole in the ground.
Yeah, so compared to a doorknob.
Okay.
or-
Next month, we're gonna be who's smarter than a hole in the ground? Who's smarter than a doorknob? Who's smarter
That's right.
than a rosebush weed flower that I swore was a sunflower for the longest time?
I don't know.
What's it called?
I think it's a spur.
It's a
Yeah.
spurge. That sounds horrible. Well, those little weeds over there and some down there, because we didn't get to that bed.
Well, actually, that's not a whole lot more than us.
I
They're the spurge family.
Where do you live?
Spurge.
Well, we on the west side, you know where Sprouts Market is? We're west of there in a development.
Yeah, a little breeze is helpful.
We're right on the highway. We like the house really well.
Well, we're supposed to have 2 days of 99.
Yes. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Is that Michelle? Is that Michelle?
I don't remember your name. That's right, Patty.
I was just gonna say Larry there.
Oh, Pat. Hi, Pat.
So you go.
I'll get you.
I'll get you a chair, Pat.
How long have you been going with it?
Or your.
Oh, well, that's a long time.
Long time, yeah.
We're over
here.
here.
Okay.
You win.
We're gonna have our 59th
How you
wedding.
doing, Tim?
Oh, yeah, you win.
Hey, Tim. Good to see you. Yeah.
That's funny that there's a hole there.
How's it going?
Today's a good day.
Is it a gopher?
Here's up at that side too.
Is it a gopher? Digging in our yard?
Are you more comfortable sitting on the sidewalk so it's all sturdy? Would that be better? Like right here?
Come on, guys.
Well, then I have to go with the grass. It's kind of like.
They think it's either vasculitis or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Boy, they're good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're making things up.
I think they are making things up. Or it could be a small toe bacteria.
Well, that's exactly it. See, that's the
I thought that was Michelle.
That's right.
When you do the.
I didn't recognize your car, but I recognized you. Huh? It's a different car. Yeah.
Anti, probably is. They all end up in the same place. If anything helps.
This tree came out good. I was so worried about it, but
They'll probably.
it looks better now than the other tree.
Yeah, that's what we just.
This is what I've been taking. I have these problems. They won't prescribe it, so I got it.
Right, like I was kind of coaching.
Get mine.
Yeah, but we'll prescribe it after we think we do a lot of torture.
I'd rather do that than 4 days. Sleep for 11 hours.
Oh, you wanted me to, do you have a pen in your pocket?
Oh, really? So then how
Fancy. How do I get it open?
Yeah, because that does weird things to you. I mean, yeah. You have breaks in between when you're not doing total damage. Adrenal glands still work. Not getting off. No, I get
Oh, I got those, yeah.
Chin shows up like 3 days before. Really?
Henry, sit up so I can have. Henry, sit up.
That's enough. Such a big gap. I don't.
Well, because it's like the drop off area, you know, the sidewalk.
I just feel like.
Yeah.
Hello. I'm glad Julie's hip is still working since ours are. Oh, we could get that little table and chair from the people across the street and put it in the play area. That might be kind of good.
I remember that's why she put it back there in injection. Long time ago. I remember when I was going to the doctor, feeding with inhalers, and then they give me an injection, and I'm like skipping to the market. I'm like, by the time I hit the door, it's like. No.
They started you. I don't know if I'll pick that number or not.
Or if they start you by it, then it's been a long time.
And they've changed that too, you know, because some doctors at home too, they're like, oh, you don't need to taper anything. Yeah, sure. But then,
You know, there wasn't a whole lot.
actually, other than that, they gave me like a dose pack that was, you know, each day, it started up here each day, and it was only for 7 days or something.
Yeah, see, that's.
Cheers.
Oh.
What am I saying? With many, many flowers. She's like a blossom. She's like a bouquet. And you're like a bouquet. Somebody else going in the alley. You're like a bouquet.
My mom's yard.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's her mom's yard. I love it.
I got to see you last week.
I know.
No, it's, well, I wonder
Yes, isn't that? You see your pretty yellow eyes?
Oh, I know. I love horses. I wish they were doing more than just one.
Yeah.
There's something short or the sun. Yeah. We've got some. What ones did I have? I had like a big bunch, and once you put the plants, they'll even have stalks. And the ones in the back area are stalking everything.
Good morning. Can you
Morning.
hear me?
Yeah.
I'll try and use my teacher voice. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greeley. My name is Hollis Bernd and I've been a member of this church for 35 years. I'm also on the Committee on Shared Ministry. For this service, we ask that you please silence your cell phone. Our mission at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greeley is to grow spiritually, live meaningfully, and help heal the world. Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter how you came here, if you came alone or with others, you are welcome here. No matter whom you love or how you speak or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. No matter your belief or your skepticism, whether you came here in person or online, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears in your eyes, you are welcome here. If you come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands, then you indeed are welcome here. We have gathered in love and fellowship to worship, foster spiritual growth, serve humanity, and understand ourselves and our universe. I extend a special welcome to all visitors today, and I hope you will find here a place that nurtures and inspires your spirit.
If you want to know why you're so tired so often, look at this banana.
It is so good to see all of your faces today. It is really wonderful. It's okay, Kathy. Go ahead. you can do that. Oh, man. I didn't know I would feel like that. So thank you to the Ode of Joy, but thank you to being the joy here in the church today and back here. And I promise I'll speak up and I'll be, we'll have to work some stuff out. We've obviously had to compete with the train. We've got all kinds of things going on. But it's good to see you. I open today's service with the words of Alice Berry. Children of the earth and sky, our cycle turns once more. We are nurtured, sustained, and given warmth and light from above and below. Children of the earth and sky, our cycle turns once more. Supported by the earth's strong, firm crust, we have built our homes, we till our fields, plant our gardens and our orchards. When we turn from ourselves and seek to be aware, we will find holy light in the human faces, in the blossoming, in the bird song, and in the sky. Then the earth is truly our home, and we are one with all earth's creatures, parents of the earth's children yet to be. If you will now rise in body or spirit, and I know we're outside, so maybe it's not fun to rise, I don't know. But I would ask us to rise and sing, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. We don't have an accompanist. We're going to do it in the most human way possible. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Got to do when the Spirit says do, I tell you. We're not going to sing it. That's what I'm letting you know. If you'll remain standing, the Vaughns are going to come up, and they are going to light our chalice for us.
Light the chalice. You can light the chalice while I. You can all repeat with me if you remember. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirrings of of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of light, come to me, come to me. And if I could have all of the young and the young at heart come on up here and help me to move these beautiful flowers that we have here today.
It's not well. No, it's that's still going. It won't stay on. He's caught in the rose.
These roses, they love that. So, if I could also have Hollis and Julie come on up here with me. Help lead us in the blessing of the flowers. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessings on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversity of knowledge and of gifts, to be of one desire and affection, and devotion to the holy will. May they also remind us of the valor of comradeship and of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the values of comradeship. May we not let awareness of others' talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Your response to these blessings will be, we bless these flowers.
In the name of the providence which implants in the hearts of the seed the future of the flowers, and which implants in our hearts that unrest which will not be quenched till people live lovingly with each other, we bless these flowers.
In the name of the highest, in which we move and take our being, and in the name of the deepest, which makes parent, father and mother, sibling, sister and brother, lover and loner, who they are,
We
bless these flowers.
And finally, in the name of the prophets and sages who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming reign of mutual respect, we bless these flowers. So our time for all ages story.
Yeah, it's not wanting to stay in this
All right.
wind.
Sometimes, I am told, our light goes out. And when it does, we are always there to light one another's flame again.
There it goes.
No, it's still coming. It's coming back.
All right, I'm going to ask us to keep it in our hearts.
Okay.
You guys want to come up again? You don't have to. You can stay where you are if you want.
I'll just stay.
You'll just stay right there. Yeah, some folks too cool. Hey man, I want to, because of I'm gonna put my mask on because you and I.
Oh, I forgot.
That's okay. You know what? I'm actually fully vaccinated, so I'm not as worried about that. But I don't want to. they definitely want us to stay safe for you guys. So I'm gonna do that. Do you know what a trickster is?
Like your brother?
Look at you. Look at your big brother. Like you're a tricky person. That's kind of right. So like a trickster is somebody who knows what the rules are, but has kind of decided to work around them.
Put it on it.
There's some real questions there. So I was like, you know what Pawnee View is? Oh, Pawnee View are the big massive mountains that are just north of town that you can go to, and they're named after these people who used to live on this land called the Pawnee. And the Pawnee have a story about. I don't mean to intimidate you. Am I intimidating you? Well, it's okay. It's okay. So the Pawnee tell a story about a time when Turtle, a big turtle, went on the warpath with the Pawnee. And Big Turtle is a character that's kind of a trickster. He has this way about him where he can make things happen that people don't expect or don't see coming. So Big Turtle was captured by the Pawnee at one point. The people had captured Big Turtle after he had gone to war with them. And they had decided they had had enough of Big Turtle. And so what they were going to do, they told Big Turtle, is we're going to throw you on the fire. And that'll be the end of you. And Big Turtle said, that's fine. You put me on that fire. I will reach out and burn you as well. And they said, okay, well, we're not going to do that then. So they said to Big Turtle, all right, we're going to put you in a big pot of water, boiling water. And Big Turtle said, that's fine, because I'll reach right back out of my shell and I will scald you. And the Pawnee said, well, that doesn't sound like a good plan either. So they said, all right, that's it. We're going to drown you in the river. And Big Turtle said, don't do that. And they said, why not? What are you going to do? And he said, there's nothing I can do. You can't, but don't throw me in the water. And they said,
Sounds like
no,
Rare Fox.
we're going to do that. That's exactly what we're going to do. And so they took Big Turtle and they hucked him out into the river. And he came splashing to the top of the river. And you know what he said? What do you think he said?
Now it'll work.
That's exactly what he said. He said, you foolish people, I live in the river. You just sent me home. And now I get to make fun of you forever. That is the story of the trickster known as Big Turtle. Thanks for sharing. All right. Well, we're not going to send kids out for the after time for all ages today because we don't have that planned. But we do have after the service today, and I hope all the Warner kids are excited about this for sure. We're going to have a scavenger hunt, which is something we wanted to do after the Easter service, but we couldn't get it accomplished. So we're going to do it now because it's never too late. And I will invite you.
Our reading today, but I have to say something just before we start, is that it's really nice to see we've had more people than we have had this whole last year in the sanctuary. So, our reading today is from Canadian marine activist Lori McBride, entitled "The Trickster Goes Flower Picking." In my home, we live among ravens. Day in and day out, the raucous calls, mechanical sounding notes, and powerful wing swishes of these large birds punctuate our landscape. The raven was known to the First Nations people as the trickster for good reason. This bird lives up to 40 years and has a wide range of vocalizations from the gentlest coo to the hardest crack and everything in between. Ravens mate for life, and often the pair will work together to snag a meal. One bird serves as the decoy and the other serves as the bandit. Over the years, I've watched these birds extracting treats from compost bins, flying over along the top of fast-moving cars when interrupted on a roadside meal, soaring overhead in amazing aerial acrobatics and gathering in great mobs to raid apple orchards. But never until a couple of weeks ago had I seen a raven picking flowers. I was in the kitchen when I noticed flowers falling from our big leaf maple tree and landing on the patio. At first I thought it was the wind, but there was barely a breeze. When the flowers kept coming at regular intervals, I figured the familiar squirrel in our yard must be at work. I hadn't seen her for a while, so I went upstairs for an bird's eye level view. To my surprise, the flower picker turned out to be a raven, moving about the branches, picking large flowers, stems, and dropping them on the patio below. Was this a form of play? Was he trying to impress his lady love? I saw no indication the bird was eating the flowers, and I couldn't imagine they would make useful nest building material, so I was at a loss to know what was going on. But then again, it was the trickster after all.
As we gather together each week, we hold one another in loving community. I light the spirit candle for all the joys and celebrations, concerns and sorrows in our hearts. We are a loving community that ministers to one another. And if you would like to share a personal joy or sorrow, I will invite you at this moment to come on up. I'm not compelled to do that in any way, but it has been a little while. So there may be something weighing on you. And then I will offer a pastoral prayer. And we will see if I will light it, and we will see if it holds. I know the craftsmen are very good with this particular candle. But not with the matchbook.
That box is worn out. Whoa.
I wish I could blow that out.
You are a trickster. I knew it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to share a joy besides all of us being here today. Over the pandemic, my sister-in-law developed colon cancer and had to battle that during that time. And it's been really hard because they helped raise me, my brother and my sister-in-law. I spent a lot of summers with them, and they basically saved my life. I guess that's the way I look at it, dealing with an alcoholic father. So I spent summers with them. And they're actually coming out here for the second time in 40 years. So I'm really thrilled to have a chance to get to see them, as well as having Marilyn's colon cancer under control. So I am absolutely thrilled that I get to see them. And then I'm also going to be traveling next month to visit family members in Minnesota. So there's some badly needed houses, I'm sure you all need to. So very excited for that.
On a personal level, just want to share with the congregation, for me during the pandemic, one of the most special things that really happened was my oldest son graduated from high school, and is going to go to the University of North Dakota a little later in the summer. And I'm just so incredibly thankful for that. And I'm glad to be able to share that with you all face to face. I also want to share with the congregation as well another special thing that's happening for me. As you know, I intended to get married to my betrothed this past summer, but the pandemic put that on hold, and we are edging much closer, I think, to a time when that is going to actually be able to come off and come off well. So we're not lighting candles today, but I would light a candle of hope for that process and that joy in my life as well. Spirit of life and love, the God and the Goddess of so many names, the source of the 10,000 things, and the thing which each one of us holds in our own hearts individually that makes meaning for us. Hear us now gathered together. We are grateful for this opportunity to be with one another. We are grateful to be not at the end, but at the ending of this pandemic. We are thankful for the leadership of this church, which has brought us through, each and every individual, each trustee, each member, each volunteer. Everything that has been done that has shown us today that we are still here, and we remain, and we will remain, and we are thankful for that. For those who have fallen away, we hope for the best for them, and we hope for the day that we will be again together. For those that have yet to come and who are just waiting to arrive, we are excited. For those that have struggled for a long time, and for those that have been struggling recently, for those that have struggled with medical needs, and for those that have struggled with mental health needs, with stress, and with financial situations, we hope and pray for an easing of that pain, and we hope to be a balm to that community and those individuals. We are thankful for this opportunity to be together. Amen. Blessed be. One of the beauties of an iPad is that you can make corrections all the time. You can get things bigger and smaller. And one of the real downsides, I realize now, on this day, is the same problem that I had a few years ago when I did a wedding out at a Colorado State park, which is when the sun hits your iPad, it warms it up a lot faster than the iPad is willing to deal with. So I'm going to put my body over this thing and hope that it stays the way it is. If suddenly it looks like I'm going off script, that's because I am. And I'm just trying to remember what all the beautiful things were that I wrote down previously. It is wonderful to be here with you today. And in this glorious sunshine, and not so much in this big black robe. It seems fitting that our first time together on the property again in a long time would be the flower communion, which marks a transition moment in the life of a congregation, in the calendar of a congregation. It is not an end point, but a marker and a movement point. And while it is not yet the moment that we are fully back in the building, we are now so very much closer. I want to thank the members of the church, the leadership, and there were folks that were identified at the last board meeting. They're going to help us get back in the building, and they've been doing a lot of good work in that time. And I am excited to see what they come up with. I've entitled my reflection this week, The Shameless Tricksters, because the theme of the month is shame, and I know that that's a difficult theme, and I know we're already exhausted having just come off the month of guilt. I promise things are going to get better. How it's going to happen, it's going to be a mystery to you all, but it is going to get easier as we go. But in order to approach what most of us would consider an unpleasant theme, I don't want to take it head on. Not only that am I afraid of that, I'm afraid you won't listen. And also, I want to be clear that sometimes the best way to approach a problem is by coming at it sideways. Shame is a feeling that arises when the voice of some moral authority judges us harshly and holds us to some debt or unpleasant feeling. Something that sometimes it's an overwhelming feeling, and often when we feel shame, it's because we're told that something we did wasn't right, or some way we are isn't right, or is unnatural or abnormal. And often these pronouncements claim to be from a place of justice. Now, I don't believe in that kind of justice. I believe that strict justice is inherently unjust, and that confident justice is frequently unjust. The uncompromising justice is not justice for all, and often things that are masquerading as justice are simply justifications of those with more power against those with less. Because this world is not fixed, and it changes. And sometimes waking up to that fact requires a bit of a trick. Throughout all cultures that I am aware of, there are stories of tricksters, characters who cannot accept the status quo and who turn that reality on its head, who often change the course of history. In some mythological reality, in some real realities. Crow or coyote among the stories of the indigenous people in North America. Spider in West Africa. The Norse god of mischief, Loki, in the deification, is a deification of the trickster. Hermes and Pan in the Greek pantheon. Bacchus in the Roman pantheon. In the Hebrew Bible, the founder of the Abrahamic tradition, Abraham himself, is a trickster character who trades his wife for some safety in a situation. His grandson is an even bigger trickster. Remember that it is Jacob who was the second born, the weaker and the less favored, but also the smarter and more clever, who ended up stealing his brother Esau's birthright as the firstborn and his father's blessing by dressing up in a costume. I've been thinking a lot about the trickster figures this week when I was supposed to be thinking how to reconcile shame. And I thought, well, I will play a trick. I won't talk about shame. Part of the reason for that is that Disney has come out with a new Loki series that everybody in the world is talking about online and so on and so forth. And quite frankly, now that all of our meaning making has stopped coming out of places like this and started coming out of boardrooms, where they're only going to give us comic book characters, I figured, well, let's just address that head on. The characters are different, but the mythology is always the same. How do we account for trickster stories? And what do they have to do with the times we live in? And what do they have to do with these flowers? Well, consider for a moment where we are in Greeley, Colorado, and cast your mind back in history. Back deep into the past, back before that Pawnee story of Big Turtle, back into the Cretaceous period, when where we were sitting would literally be the bottom of the sea. The place called the Western Interior Seaway, which today is only a trickle of the Poudre and the South Platte, an enormous seascape that was marking the monuments of the Pawnee Butte. It was in that earlier time, not here at the bottom of the sea, but on the land. Angiosperma, flowering plants, were 120 million years ago, for the first time, exploding in population across the land. Something that had never previously existed. A world that you probably can't even imagine. A world without flowers suddenly changed. And in that moment, these plants had a trick. Angiosperma tricked the world and displaced the conifers that could no longer compete with them. They tricked pollinators, insects, animals with a nectar to come and alight on them, presenting them for the first time with flowers. Beautiful colors and powerful scents to entice the pollinators to linger and lounge on them, and then to move on to neighboring plants and to deliberately and efficiently pollinate them, guaranteeing that the pollen would not be blown at random like a conifer dropping its pollen everywhere, but in the wind, and leaving things to chance, but deliberately sending out a messenger who did not even know how they were being used. And it is the result of this nifty little trick that changed the natural world forever. We might remember that it is at its heart, the flower communion itself is a trick. The creator of the flower communion, the creators, were Maya Tropic and Norbert Tropic, both of what is now the Czech Republic, what was then Bohemia within the Holy Roman Empire of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Norbert was a Catholic by birth, but that was not a satisfying thing for him. And through his life, he changed. He first became a Baptist, and then when he went to seminary, he discovered the idea of Unitarianism, and Unitarianism changed his life. As a Unitarian minister, he created a congregation of liberally religious people in Prague. But here's the trick. How are you going to make liberally religious people religious? After all, they can't agree on how they see the world. What can they agree on? Well, Norbert's trick was this. They can agree that they all have inherent worth and dignity, that they are all good people, people worthy of being together and sitting together and learning together and laughing together and loving together. That's something they can all agree on. Well, is that enough? Well, if it isn't enough, then why don't we sing? And everyone said, well, you can't sing hymns because hymns, the only hymns we all know are the Catholic hymns, and we don't want to sing those. And Norbert said, I have a trick. We'll sing the hymns that I create. And it's you create. And that seemed to work. And then they said, but we still need more community. And Norbert knew that that too required a trick. And so Norbert's trick was this. I will create ritual that we can all share. I want you to go home on this June day, and I want you to take one of your favorite flowers, something from your own garden, and I want you to bring it back here. And when you bring it here, we're going to put it on the dais. And you're going to see the whole diversity, all the beauty of what's in your own homes brought here in a community. And it will be a gift. It will be a gift to all of us. And when it's all over, I want you to take back something that someone else brought. And that will be our ceremony. And it was a brilliant, brilliant trick. In fact, it was such a successful trick that when Maya Chopik, his wife, Reverend Maya Chopik came to the United States in Cambridge in 1943, she taught the people of Cambridge this tradition. And it was exactly like the late Cretaceous period in Unitarian Universalist circles. This ceremony spread all over the place. And it pollinated the imagination and the creativity of Unitarian Universalists everywhere. Now, you know that the story, Reverend Chobik, his country was invaded by the Nazis. The Nazis are not really big and never have been big on the idea of freedom and free will and people not towing a very specific line. And they have a very specific way of dealing with people who don't want to do that. To have the spirit of a trickster in this environment ultimately meant that Chopik was sent to Dachau. And his life was snuffed out. But this one, as fragile as his life was, the spirit of what he did spread here today to be among you, to inspire you, to make you as a community and as individuals something as unique as every one of these fragile petals is. That's the power of a trickster. That's the power of someone who says, life isn't perfect, but I can make it different. And I want to be really clear. Tricksters, by and large, are not appreciated within their own spheres and times. Nobody likes the trickster. What they like comes years and decades later, often, which is the liberation of an order that became oppressive, of a way of thinking that became reductive. And so today, I want to say thank you to Norbert the Trickster. And I want all of us today, as we walk through this service, to be thankful and to be inspired and to realize that out of a dark time, good things inevitably can come to rise if we notice them, we're open to them, and if we embrace them. May it be so, and blessed be.
Freely have we received of gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. We will now take the offering.
As a congregation and a beloved community, we dedicate ourselves and these, our offerings, to the vision of the church, which is to grow spiritually, to live meaningfully, and to help heal the world. I have a big ask for folks because we don't have the hymnals out here. So I would love to sing De Colores. De Colores. But I will not be able to lead us in that, as I would need a hymnal to even come close to doing that.
Yeah, we could get a hymnal.
Well, there you go. That is true. I could step away for half a second, or we could sing afterward.
I can go.
So we're gonna
In the office.
we're going to grab that. Now I'm gonna do while Julie's doing that, I'm gonna read to us one thing. Having blessed the flowers earlier in our ceremony, at the end of the hymn, I ask us all to share in the beauty. When Norbert Scherpeck invited folks to come up, he invited them not to ponder too much, taking a flower for themselves. I invite you to do something slightly different. Please come up to the dais and take a flower, one that you did not bring, and offer it to a person behind you in line, and then return to your seat and remain standing. And in this way, let us show a renewed resolution sincerely to be siblings, regardless of the barriers which estrange us. May the flowers, may these flowers be for us a sign of the glory and variety which we aspire to, knowing that the whole while that we are one family, a family of spirit and nature, and that the holy resolve, and that in this holy resolve, may we strengthen the spirit of love, that we ourselves may bloom in splendor of the joy of life, and endeavor to be more perfect in our days. To that, I say amen. So you're gonna.
I was going to ask Hollis to help.
Hollis will lead. Okay, so Hollis will lead us.
Actually, can Danelle come up and any other choir members come up and help me?
Come on.
There you go.
Come on over here. I'll sing with you too. De Colores. Colores.
Oh, look at this. Look at all these people coming up.
We'll get a couple of more books.
Okay. Half the congregation's coming up. This is pretty cool.
Sunshine.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go.
The colors, yes, the colors we see in the springtime, the fall of its flowers. Oh, the colors, when the sunlight shines on through a rift in the cloud and it showers. Oh, the colors, as a rainbow appears when a storm is touched by the sun. All the colors of love for love, around it for everyone under the sun. Oh, the colors, yes, the colors of people parading on by with their banners. Oh, the colors, yes, the colors of pennants and streamers and plumes and bandanas. Oh, the colors, yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun.
colors, all the colors of people who scorn and shake hands and say hello. All the colors, yes, the colors of people who know that their freedom is won. All the colors of purple all around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors around and all around and for everyone under the sun. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los verdes viñedos de colores es el arco iris que vemos así. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí.
Yay!
That was fantastic. I love it. And so I'll ask our impromptu choir to go ahead and pick one flower that you did not bring and offer to the person behind you in line. And I will go first. Who's going to be my person? All right. So this is for you. Now, if you'll offer, pick one and offer the person behind you. This one's surprise. Then you can go back. And if everyone wants to come up and we'll just cruise through.
I don't know.
You hand it to the first one. Here,
Well, maybe
no, no,
it's
no.
maybe it's a train. Just Timothy.
That's for you.
Thank you.
You got it.
I'll order some.
And ours
a little
don't
mess
want
up
to
with
be here.
Yeah.
Some trouble with our kids, both of us. So we'll just wait until we'll like
Campy and Limpy.
Gimpy and Limpy. Yeah. Oh, we can still
Oh, I thought you were. I just-
Gimpy and Limpy.
Okay.
We're just waiting for the line to stay. Thank you.
There's some beautiful roses down here too.
That's what I was thinking. Oh. You want that one? You want this one? All right, there we go. Oh, that's awesome. That's what
Got our chalices. There's a flower. All these beautiful flowers, and he went right to the
The bee is going for the chalice. I saw bee earlier on the flower, so. coming up? Me? Yeah. No, he already gave me one, so I'm good.
By the way, for my big sister.
That's
Oh, great
Oh,
idea.
that's lovely.
Yeah. We're the only ones wearing that.
Oh, he is?
Well, yeah.
for those who came here seeking the holy. May the holy go with you and in you. For those who came here seeking to embrace life, may life return your affection. For those who came here seeking a better way, may you find that way, and the patience and the courage to take it little by little. And for those who came here seeking a better world, here's the trick. We will make it so with the loving work of our hands and our hearts. Thank you for being here today. Go in peace.
Sure.
Okay, boys, are you ready? Ready? Yes. Okay, here's your first clue. Now, I'll give you a hint. You know your directions. They all have to do a direction. West. South. Okay, you have to start by going to the well where the sign is. Let's go down that way. But it's not a competition, so don't hurry. Tisha, that's true.
Hey, Mr. Long, how are you? You're looking great.